This is Bus Infant, and it's one of the tracks I have submitted for my project, and this is all about Trigger Platinum. Trigger Platinum is a software that allows me to re-trigger my samples, and it can be easily accessed from the insert section in your DAW, in this case Logic Pro 9. It's very simple to open. Once open, you come up with this screen. On the top right corner we have the beat detection area with a graphical representation of all the beats detected, and if we play it now we can actually see it in action. There we go, with all its different velocities. We can then adjust the detail, and the detail allows you to avoid any spillage on the track. In this case there's none because I've used the strip silencer to separate all my kicks, but if you have a leakage you can use a detail to avoid at least some of it. We also have the re-trigger knob, and this increases and decreases the number of milliseconds between each sample being played. And then we have in the end the sensitivity knob, and that does what it says. We also have the main input and output settings. Then we have the slots where we'll be loading our TCI files, and on the side we have the navigation area where we can access all our TCI files. Though before we start I would like to demonstrate what the kick sounds like without trigger and afterwards with trigger. We then select the slot, and we double click on the TCI file on the side, and that will load our samples in the slot. As we can see, we have up to 6 available slots, and that means we have available up to 6 different sounds with 6 with all their different velocities and articulation. So it's very versatile. Each empty slot has a number of settings that we can play around with, from volume. We can also change the pan and the pitch of each single sample, and then we have attack, we have sustain and release. Release has been very useful when you have samples with long tails. We can also change the dynamic range and the velocity, and very useful feature is the velocity range, because sometimes the loudest sample is not suitable for the beat detected. So by lowering the loudest sample, you can play a more appropriate velocity. As we have, as said previously, more slots, we can obviously add different sounds and build our custom kick drum. Now I have used quite a lot the sub microphone that I had, along with the D1112 and a beta mic, and this built a kick drum that actually standed out in the mix. By pressing on the big setting button, we can access other parameter. Detection mode can be switched between live and accurate. Live to be used when you are re-triggering live tracks, because the latency is brought down close to 0. Accurate obviously increases the latency, but you get a better result in the end. Then we have all our MIDI controls, because believe it or not, Trigger has the ability to re-trigger drums from MIDI. And then down at the end we have the set default folder. In this case, I've put mine to documents, where all my trigger samples are. Trigger Platinum has a very important feature, and that is the leakage suppression mode, which allows a trigger to detect the leakage on the track and phase cancel it. I haven't been able to use it this time because of a bug with this version, so I had to play around with the detail and sensitivity functions to try and achieve the best detail quality without incurring in false detection. But I will try and explain it to you anyway, how it works. We start by opening the mixer, and then we create a bus. We will then send the snare track, and that is the main track we are working with, to the bus on the right hand side, so panned right, and then we will send all the other leakage tracks to the left hand side. And what this does, it will allow trigger to detect the leakage and phase cancel it. In this way you can achieve a very accurate detail, therefore getting the full dynamic range of each snare without encountering any problems with the leakage.